Hey friends, we have the story of Iron Man. Tony Stark was good at making things. He met with the army. They wanted him to help them. Tony worked in an army lab. Something exploded. An enemy had attacked. They wanted Tony to make weapons. They took him away. They took him to a cell. He met another prisoner. His name was Yinsen. Yinsen made things too. He put a hand on Tony's shoulder. Tony's heart was hurt. Yinsen built something to help. It would keep Tony's heart beating. He would always have to wear it. It would keep him alive. They also made a suit of armor. Tony would wear it. It would help them escape. Now Tony could break anything. He smashed through a brick wall. He fought the whole enemy army. He won easily. The enemy was scared. They ran away. Tony escaped. He used his suit to fly home. Tony wanted to help others. On TV, he saw a crime happening. He flew over to help. Everyone was scared. The people he was there to save were scared too. His armor was too scary. Tony painted his armor. Now people would not be scared of him. His armor was still not perfect. He still needed to fix it up. Tony made his suit light. He painted it red and gold. He made a powerful energy force. He shot it from his hands. He shot it from his boots. The suit could now fly fast. He had to think of a superhero name. He chose Iron Man. Iron Man fought supervillains. Sometimes he fought two. He could attack from behind. He could pick up bad guys. Tony kept on fixing up the armor. He used special tools. He put on goggles. He worked all the time. Tony did not always wear a suit of armor. Sometimes he wore a suit and tie. He always kept a suitcase near. It had his armor inside. He never knew when the world would need Iron Man. The end. Hey friends, we have Game Over. Ant-Man has cool superpowers. He can shrink really small or call ants to help him. Cassie is Ant-Man's daughter. Cassie thinks her dad's powers are so cool. Ant-Man takes Cassie to the video game arcade. Cassie loves pinball machines. Then Ant-Man and Cassie eat ice cream cones. It is time for Cassie to do her homework. Cassie forgot her backpack at the arcade. The arcade is closed. Cassie's backpack is locked inside. Ant-Man is not worried. He has a great idea. He can shrink them both. Ant-Man shrinks himself and Cassie down to the size of ants. Ant-Man and Cassie are very small. They can just walk under the arcade door. The video game arcade is quiet. Everything is turned off. Cassie finds her backpack. Ant-Man shrinks it down too. They are ready to leave. Ant-Man has another great idea. They are small enough to fit inside the pinball games. Ant-Man and Cassie can walk inside the games. They are very small. Everything looks huge. Ant-Man and Cassie climb into a space robot game. They stroll over glow-in-the-dark stars. They walk through a giant robot's eye. Ant-Man and Cassie crawl into a mermaid game. They spot shiny shells. Cassie spies a mermaid. Ant-Man and Cassie climb into a circus game. They see animals and a big clown face. Then Ant-Man and Cassie climb into a haunted house game. They see creepy cobwebs and spooky ghosts. There are traps and tricks everywhere. Cassie falls through a trap door. She falls into a deep hole. Cassie can't climb out, and Ant-Man can't reach her. Cassie slides deeper into the hole. Ant-Man calls the ants to help him. Many ants hear when Ant-Man calls. They hurry to the arcade. The ants meet Ant-Man by the hole. They will help save Cassie. The flying ants are too big to fit in the hole. The smaller ants are too tiny to reach Cassie alone. Ant-Man has a great idea. He asks the small ants to work together. The ants cling to each other to make a ladder. Cassie climbs up the ant ladder. Cassie is safe. Ant-Man and Cassie thank the ants. They leave the video game arcade. Ant-Man makes himself big again. He makes Cassie big again too. From now on, Ant-Man and Cassie will play pinball only from outside the games. The end. Hey friends, we have the story of Spider-Man. Peter Parker didn't have many friends. Other kids thought Peter was different. They made fun of him. They liked sports and music. Peter liked books. Peter loved all his classes at school, but he loved science the most. Peter only loved one thing more than science. He loved his family. He lived with his Aunt May and his Uncle Ben. At home, Peter couldn't have been happier. Aunt May and Uncle Ben loved Peter. They bought him a new microscope. Uncle Ben told him that science was power. And, he said, with great power comes great responsibility. One day, Peter heard that a lab was going to do something special. They were going to show how rays worked. Peter visited the lab to see it. The rays lit up, but a spider dropped down between them. The spider was zapped with power. Peter didn't notice something. The spider was falling down, and it was falling on him. The spider was glowing with power. It bit Peter's hand. Peter held his head. He felt sick. Peter left the lab. He felt so sick that he almost didn't see a car coming. He jumped out of the way. He jumped higher than he thought he could. He landed on a wall, and he stuck to it. He climbed up the wall. It was just like the spider that bit him. He jumped from roof to roof. His powers were like a spider's. He must have gotten them from the spider's bite. Peter was amazed by his powers. He saw a poster of a wrestler. He would test his powers on him. Peter put on a mask. He challenged the wrestler. He threw the wrestler. He beat the wrestler. Peter was happy, but he couldn't be a Spider-Man without something else. He went home and made some gluey stuff. Then he made something to shoot the stuff. He called them web shooters. Peter made a costume. He called himself Spider-Man. People loved Spider-Man. They loved his powers. Soon he was famous. But one night, he saw a robbery taking place. A cop called out to stop the crook, but Peter didn't stop him. Peter was tired of being told what to do, so he let the crook go. Peter went home. There were cops outside. He knew something was wrong. The cops told Peter there had been a crime at his house. Uncle Ben was the victim. Peter put on his Spider-Man costume. He rushed to find the criminal. When he found him, Peter discovered something terrible. The crook was the same man he had let run away. Peter was so sad he cried, but he remembered that Uncle Ben had told him, "With great power comes great responsibility." He knew this meant he had to fight crime. He would do it as Spider-Man. He swung over the city. A hero had been born. The end.